Hello, good afternoon. Today I am here with Sarath Davala. He's an independent sociologist who's founded the India Network for Basic Income, and I will be asking him a couple of questions on the agenda of right to work. Good afternoon, sir. So, firstly, how did you come up with the idea of India Network for Basic Income, and what does it do?
Oh, thank you, Kameshwari, for this opportunity to talk about INBI. Actually, India Network for Basic Income is an offshoot of a study that we did in Madhya Pradesh. Seva Madhya Pradesh actually conducted this study of trying to see how unconditional cash transfer can be a different kind of a mechanism by which you can provide social security to people, particularly the poorer sections of the society, because much of the current social security system that we have, the welfare regime that we have, is basically centered around conditionalities, and the people should be qualified for it, and then they should become under BPL. If they don't have BPL, they will not be entitled. So that was the motivation for that study. So that study gave us a lot of insight into how people behave when there are no conditionalities. So the results of the study have been very positive, in the sense that people have a rationality of their own existence. So when you do not disturb that rationality and just provide them resources, then those resources actually feed into their own logic. And that logic seems to operate in a more productive way, in a more meaningful way, in a more emancipatory way for people themselves. So that has been our experience. So we were actually quite encouraged with the results of the study. So after the study was conducted, then we brought out a book which came out with the most important points of the study. Then we thought that this is an idea we should take everywhere and speak about it, because globally and nationally we are going through very major changes and very troubled times. So that was how a few researchers who were part of this study came together, and some journalists who were interested. So we founded this network about 2 years ago. We have about more than 100 members, and we are now affiliated to the International Basic Income Network, and we are going to organize a World Congress in 2 years from now.
That's great, sir. So, with reference to your book, Basic Income Transformative Policy in India, so how do you correlate family welfare and economic growth?
Well, if you look at the situation today, we seem to be heading towards a situation of jobless growth.
Yes, sir.
Somehow the logic of the current times, probably aided by technology and the digital technology and what it has done to the areas of production and distribution and marketing, we seem to be heading towards that. So we need to rethink our notions of redistribution. We should rethink our notions of how you are going to provide economic security to people. We need to rethink the way, so we cannot be caught, what we were discussing today in the conference, we cannot be caught up in this Fordist imagination that all workers one day will become formal workers. All workers will one day will have all the benefits, permanent jobs. That is not the scenario we are talking about today. Today we have multiple working classes, and what is cutting across the common characteristic of all these multiple working classes is that they are all precarious. So informal is now seen as normal. So precarity is normal. So even people who are in the IT sector, they are very unsure about their permanency of their, so any day they can get a pink slip. Like any day a vendor can get a pink slip and say that he'll be thrown out of the place where he's vending. So we have to, so this book is basically talking about the transformative idea that maybe an unconditional basic income can be one part of the welfare basket. Which means that you raise the floor of people, put them all at one level, And then above that floor, they will find employment. Maybe precarious, maybe good employment, maybe harsh employment, maybe less harsh employment. So that is the combination we are able to foresee today. That people have some basic ground to stand on. So coming to the family welfare, that is what precisely it is. That how are you going to ensure that during your periods of no job, underemployment, your children will be taken care of? What is the kind of social security we have? So we have to come up with innovative ideas about how you are going to now the question of universality.
Yes, sir.
See, because we are all the time talking about universal basic income. Now, when you say universal, 1.3 billion people, you make a calculation. You said, "Wow, we can't afford this kind of money. We don't have that." So the concept, we should take advantage of the concept, an ideal type, where you should see, how do I tweak this to suit my conditions in my country? Yes, so Taiwan is doing it in its own way, and Sri Lanka is doing it in its own way, and Finland is doing it in its own way. There is no country where there is universal basic income as of now.
Yes. Oh.
But 10 years from now, I can imagine some countries may have, but they will have their own versions of it. So that's how I correlate this transformative idea of basic income with the household family. And also the question that we've been discussing earlier about the equity. How do you ensure that equal pay, should you have more legislations, or should you find other ways of giving equal unconditional income to all?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes. What, in your opinion, are the effective ways in which relief can be provided to workers and trade unions through the government or the courts? And how can they be improved? Basically, the welfare and relief provided to these unions or workers.
Yeah, in fact, I think in the conference we have been discussing that there were some labor lawyers who said that we feel we cannot no longer continue this occupation because it's not viable, and the whole spirit of the times, as they call it, of the times are such that everything seems to go against labor, because today the worker and the trade union leader are not the heroes. It's the entrepreneur, the startup guy is the hero. So that's the spirit of the times. So in a situation like this, how do you ensure welfare of labor as opposed to capital?
Has it improved over time, or is it still the same as before?
It has not improved over times, because that's why there was a time 20 years ago, 25 years ago, we were thinking that all informal sector workers, through better legislations, will all get the same security that the formal sector workers have. So like I said, today informal sector they say that informal is normal.
Yes, sir.
So when that is the case, in fact, more and more people from the formal sector are being thrown into informal. So today Professor Bakshi was saying that 3% are formal sector workers and 97% are informal. Now there are 3-4 things here. One is that we need to innovate in terms of policy. Number 2, we need to, if there is no strong trade union movement, you cannot have strong collective bargaining culture. You cannot have collectivization culture. It will be opposed. So today, any collectivizing effort is being seen as a threat to the employer, to the state. You never know, they may say tomorrow it's a threat to national security also, any collectivization. So in times like this, as Arvind Singh was also arguing, that we have to take on the game head on. What is the game, and how do we cope and innovate within that? So a strong trade union movement definitely is necessary. At the same time, there should be also small little revolutions everywhere and small little innovations. So we were discussing in the morning that capital is innovating rapidly. But in what way labor and people who are on behalf of labor are innovating in terms of protective legislation. So more laws does not mean more protection. We have had BD Workers Act for like so many years
Implementation
now.
matters.
Implementation matters, and the spirit of the times, as I was saying, that doesn't seem to be in favor of implementing such
Yes,
laws that
sir.
we have already.
Yes.
We have tons of laws. There's
Yes,
no
sir.
point having more laws.
No, yes, sir. So like, then should India, like, as a whole, can it improve its labor laws using international conventions? Like, should we borrow some to improve our, since you're saying that there are enough laws,
Yeah.
but none of them are being implemented. So should we take any conventions, international conventions, will they help in our, in improving our laws?
I don't know. Law is the vehicle, but law in combination with people's movements
Yes,
and
sir.
people's mobilizing, and law in combination with collectivization process, I think that is the way to go. Plus innovation, because we are living in times of digital revolution.
Yes.
We are going through digital revolution. So all the tools that are available to capital are also available to us. So why not we also innovate?
Awareness, basically.
Exactly.
We have to spread awareness. The laws are there, but
Yeah,
people need to be aware of what is
absolutely,
happening.
absolutely. So you have to bring in that culture of assertion.
Yes, sir.
I'm not sure how to go about, because I feel strongly that you have to innovate at policy level also,
Yes,
and at the
sir.
grassroots level
Yes, sir.
also.
Okay, sir. Then that's it. It was a pleasure interviewing, sir. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.